On last Sunday, March 26th, there were 3 JAL games, Lynx versus Sasquatches, and then an Underdogs Rapids doubleheader. Let's get right to the highlights. This first matchup was a morning start with quite a bit of drizzling rain throughout the whole game. Josh Burkhart getting things going early for the Lynx with a bases clearing triple, puts 4 on the board. Then Tegan Connors later, that's a double. The Lynx would max their run total in the first inning. Now bottom of the first, Tegan Connors has a new pitch this season. It's a screwball and it is unbelievable. Look at the movement and velocity of that throw. The Sasquatches were clearly not ready for it and just kind of stunned, and then he throws in a slider there to Marcus Deo for the final out. Top of the second now, Lynx clearly in control, but Ethan Erickson makes a fantastic catch right on the home run line. As we can see in the replay, he makes the last step right before the line and then jumps over it. That's a legal catch. Great play. Legendary fielder. We're skipping to the top of the third, 20 zip. Lynx keep pouring it on. There's a homer from Tegan, scores 2. Later in the inning, he's going to get a bases clearing triple to put 27 on the board. At this point, the game is clearly over, but Tegan has something to pitch for still at this point. He's got a no-hitter shutout going, and he keeps whipping that screwball in there, painting it all over the board. The accuracy he had with that pitch in this game is some of the best we've ever seen in this league in terms of someone throwing a screwball. Right here, there was a momentary scare where Ethan Erickson technically put the ball in play. It just wasn't anywhere near that first single line. And Tegan Connors just blowing through the lineup. Fourth inning now. Josh Burkhart up. And this is just more of the same stuff. There's a homer. That ball wasn't even anywhere near the zone, but he swung at it anyway and got a homer. Same thing here for Tegan Connors. They're just padding their stats at this point. Here's one last strikeout with the screwball from Tegan to end the fourth inning. No point showing the fifth inning highlights. It was just continuing with the same theme. Lynx win at 50-0. They quite literally win by as much as you possibly can. The way that they beat the Sasquatches was obviously just a perfect storm of Tegan Connors throwing a no-hitter shutout combined with them batting 12 of 17 with 6 combined home runs. And, I mean, just utter domination for Tegan Connors. This is his 3rd career no-hitter shutout. It's also his 3rd career just shutout in general. All 3 of his shutouts have been also no-hitters, which is pretty impressive. He now ranks 3rd all-time for most no-hitter shutouts in league history. He put up 32 RBIs, which also ties the most all-time, ties his teammate Josh Burkhart, who set that record few seasons ago back when he was on the Underdogs, but now they share that record. Josh Burkhart, I mean, everything is about Tegan's stats in this game, but look at Burkhart's line, 5 of 9, 3 homers, 18 RBIs. I mean, that's an incredible game. It's just nobody's going to really remember it next to Tegan's stats. Of course, there's no way Tegan is going to have these kind of numbers all season long in every game, but I'm really curious to see just what he can do in terms of a total body of work this season, because he looked incredible in this first game. For the Sasquatches, I mean, they didn't have Scott Coleman, they didn't have Colby Mazza, arguably their 2 most important players. Maybe they wouldn't have lost 50-0. I guarantee they still would have lost, though. Maybe Colby could have broke up the no-hitter for Tegan and put a run on the board, possibly. Scott, I mean, I feel like the Lynx still would have put at least 30 on the board, just the way that they were all over the ball. You could really tell that the Lynx were a team that's been waiting to play, one of the last teams to start the JL24 season, and they wanted to show something in the first one here. Sasquatches now are 0-3 on the season. A lot of question marks with what they do going forward. They don't really have any youth, no rookies. They're kind of a stale roster at the moment. They've got a lot to think about now, and the season feels like it just got started. And, I mean, now it's like, do they keep just going forward this season with the current roster and try to win games, or do they start trying to bring some rookies in? Do they maybe make some trades? We'll see. All right, let's go to the next matchup now, the doubleheader between the Rapids and Underdogs, and this was a few hours later in the day. It began at 2 in the afternoon. This is the bottom of the first. Tucker Amrine, rookie for the Underdogs, starting in the circle. Ty Johnson getting a hit to begin the game. Later, that's Anders Dahl playing the outfield, making a nice catch right at about the home run line to get the out. And then Amrine works out of the jam with a nice little curveball there. And the Underdogs have a 2-1 lead at the end of the first inning. Now they're on offense. This is Tucker Amrine getting a single on the right field line. Later, they keep producing runs. They're ahead 9-1 now. 2 outs, bases loaded. Blake Lawrick gonna get himself a single to put 10 on the board. We flip sides. Rapids down 8. They need some runs. Game is early, but you don't want to fall too far behind. This is Jared Shagul ripping a triple, scores 2. Later in the inning, only 1 out, runner on third, and that is a home run that scores 2 more. 2 outs, bases loaded. Ty Johnson getting in the action. That's a triple, it scores 3, but the Underdogs hold on to the lead by 1. We're in the third inning now. Blake Lawrick, there's another hit. This one is a triple, and it scored a run. Later when he's up again, Jared Shagul's in a jam, but he paints the tip top of the board to get a big second out, and then Owen Erickson gets called around to get out of that jam. Now here's Ty Johnson. Rapids still working from behind, getting a double, cuts the lead back to 1, bases loaded, 1 out. Later when he's up, and that's a home run. Rapids take the lead 15-12. Then Jared Shagul, he's going to go deep too. Now the Rapids are on top by 4. Danger territory for the Underdogs. They've played so well to this point. Can they keep it close? Yes, because Tucker Amrine's going to throw a couple real nice pitches to keep the game at a manageable distance. Skip to the bottom of the 4th, 1-point game. Rapids starting to feel the pressure here. Anders Dahl almost comes up with a huge fielding out, but he stops what probably would have been a home run nonetheless with great effort there. It's a triple, but Jared Shagul's not done hitting in the inning. There's another triple, but Amrine keeps working that high curveball. You got to give him credit for getting big outs in key moments of the game. Look at him drop that thing in there. Shagul can't believe it. And then he closes the inning, getting Ty out on it too. So we enter the 5th. It's a 3-point game. Bases loaded, 1 out. Blake Lawrick gonna get a triple. This one is tied up. Runner on third, Owen Erickson. But he goes down looking. 2 outs now. Underdogs, they need to get the lead. They even need probably a bit of a cushion, but they can't get it. Now all the Rapids need is 1 run to win the game. Amrine had such a solid debut, but asking a rookie pitcher to not give up any runs in 1 inning with the game on the line is such a tough spot. And ultimately, Jared Shagul hits a grand slam walk-off to win it. And as cool as walk-off home runs are, the thing is, the story of this game is how competitive this team of Underdogs rookies was. And not only is this a team full of rookies, these are young kids. You've got Tucker Amrine and Owen Erickson, who are only 16 years old, and then Blake Lawrick and Anders Dahl are only 15 years old, and they were right there with the number 4 ranked Rapids. None of it felt fluky either. I mean, none of these guys had outrageous stat lines. You had Amrine pitch just a good, solid, efficient game. Lawrick hit the ball 3 different times, but collectively as a team, I felt like they were really disciplined batters. They weren't swinging at wild stuff outside the zone. Dahl had a great game in the field. It was impressive stuff all the way around for them. Of course, it wouldn't be fair to not mention the Rapids stat lines, which were really good. Shagul, 7 hits. Ty, 7 hits. Shagul had 3 homers. They both had 11 RBIs, so they hit the ball really well. But the thing is, 14 hits, you expect there to be more than 22 runs on the board. And I go back to Tucker Amrine. I just feel like, he did what you got to do in the JL if you're not a super talented pitcher. You just throw strikes, you make the other team swing, and you can be pretty efficient and solid and then just try to win offensively, and they almost did. What was great about the end of this game is that you knew there was a second one coming, and the Rapids would have the underdogs' full attention this time if they didn't the first game. And for the underdogs, they make a pitching change. Blake Lawrick in the circle now for them. And as we're going to see, this kid has a ton of potential to be a star arm the older he gets in this league. In the first inning, he only gives up 3. You could see some of those pitches he was mixing in, sliders and rise balls. So he's got an arsenal already. Here's Anders Dahl hitting a single in the bottom of the first. And then Owen Erickson getting a double. Later, the score is tied up 3-3 with only 1 out. Tucker Amrine batting, and that is a no doubt home run. Underdogs take the lead 7-3. Top of the second now. Bases loaded. Lawrick's in a jam, but he gets a nice strikeout there against Shagul. And later, he's going to do it again. That one was a sinker, a really nice pitch. We'll watch it here in slow-mo. Look at it just drop off, and Shagul bites on it. Skipping to the top of the third, Underdogs up 20-6. They had a big bottom of the second inning. Lawrick still dealing some really nice pitches. In this third inning, he gets to the second out without any runs allowed, but then gives up a few after. Still have a 9-run lead. Anders Dahl getting some more hitting action going for the U-Dogs. They're back up 10. Jared Shagul pulls himself together a bit though and only gives up 1 run in the third. We're in the fourth now, and Lawrick just keeps working out of these jams, throwing different pitches. The first one was a little rise ball, and then he gets tie out with a sinker. Look at this thing. Look how high it is, and then it drops in at the top of the zone. That is a great pitch. I'm telling you, this kid can be a really good pitcher in the league. After flipping sides, this is Owen Erickson hitting a solo bomb. This is what I love about this team. All 4 of these guys can do different stuff and be really dangerous. There's a really nice pitch by Jared, who only gave up 1 run in the inning again. He really started coming alive to keep the Rapids in this thing. And now it's up to Lawrick to close it out, but here's where being a rookie becomes a factor, the lack of experience. He almost gets the second out here, but Jared Shagul gets that ball to roll for a single. It barely touches the line. That would have been a huge second out for the Underdogs, but now they're closing the gap. They're only down 2, only 1 out, bases loaded, and Ty hits a triple to take the lead. Ty again, a few plays later, going deep center for the grand slam. Rapids are starting to run away with this now. There's another home run by Ty, another grand slam. In fact, the Rapids are all of a sudden up by 12. Everything is unraveling for Lawrick. There's another home run for the Rapids. That one, a 3-run shot by Shagul. In the 5th inning, they have a 15-point lead, but Owen Erickson is going to go deep here. The Underdogs are not going to go away quietly. Tucker Amrine fights off a pitch here and almost turns it into a single, but Jared Shagul, great effort, runs it down to get that second out. Blake Lawrick with 2 on and 2 outs goes deep for a homer, cuts the lead to 10, but eventually Jared Shagul closes it out, and the Rapids win by a score of 37-27. Dramatic 5th inning comeback for the Rapids, and then you got to give the Underdogs credit to fight there in the bottom of the 5th and make it a 10-run game after the disaster that happened in the top half. As we saw from the highlights, this game was way closer than the 10-run margin it ended up being. Very different from the first matchup. In this one, the Underdogs were in control almost the entire game and then pretty much just blew it at the end, whereas the first game it was kind of back and forth and they hung around but then just didn't quite have enough juice to win it. This one, they had enough. It just came down to Lawrick being an inexperienced pitcher who, I mean, let's be honest, he just kind of blew it in the 5th inning. As a team, the Underdogs batted really well in this game. Look at the stats, 9 of 22 collectively Owen Erickson had a great game, 4 hits, 2 of them homers. Amrine and Dahl also had 2 hits. Lawrick, 1 of 6, but that hit was a 3-run homer in the 5th. On the Rapids side, Ty Johnson had a great game, 5 hits, 2 home runs, 22 RBIs. He was incredible in that 5th inning comeback, just hit after hit. Those 2 homers were daggers. Fielding, both guys did a great job back there. The Rapids always have great defensive effort. A few words on Shagul's pitching in this game day because it wasn't great. He's a guy a lot of people thought could be an MVP contender this season, and maybe he still will be, but it's going to definitely hinge heavy on his pitching. He is a primary fastball pitcher, which is fine. It means he's very efficient, throws strikes, but he is susceptible to giving up hits and sometimes gets exposed for that, as we saw in this game day. The underdogs knocked him around. This is his 3rd career season in the JL, and he just still hasn't developed a secondary pitch. I just don't know how deep you can go in today's JL throwing fastball after fastball. Look, I think they're going to be a playoff team, but in terms of winning a title, I think he's got to still improve a bit at pitcher for them to have a legitimate shot at the cup when we get to that point. As for the underdogs, I'm looking at the National Conference, and I don't see why this team couldn't compete to make the playoffs this season, especially when you think Brock wasn't active for these particular games. He will be active for games later in the season. That's going to add another good bat and leadership that these rookies need to keep flourishing. They are already a dangerous team, and I think the future is really bright for these guys moving forward. The Rapids players agree with that, and we're going to leave the last words to them here. These are their post-game interview comments after the doubleheader, just complimenting the underdogs and expressing really how impressed they were with the competitiveness of this doubleheader.
I think they got some talent, actually. I think they're going to be pretty good. They could definitely be a playoff team. But they're just young, and they fell to what all rookies fall to. It's like, we didn't win the game, they just lost it. Just comes with experience, but they're pretty good. They'll be good down the line this season for sure.
Were you shocked at how competitive they were in that game and how well they
I was shocked. I was worried. But listen, I got to be better if we want to make a playoff spot this year. But hats off to the underdogs, man. They had us.
That's good signings by Brock.
Oh yeah.
But 2-0 is 2-0, so we'll take it and go. Looking good so far.
Thank God Brock wasn't here.
All right, this has been Game Day's Best. Thanks for watching the highlights. I'm Commissioner Cale Johnson. We'll see you next time.